Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm a part-time reseller and I sell on eBay, I sell some on Poshmark, and I also sell on Depop. And I'm gonna go through the sales that I have for the month of April, so if you're interested in that, stick around. Alright, so starting off strong, I'm gonna go with my best sale that I've had for the month of April, and that was this Free People Pants Women's Small Parachute Cargo Baggy Pockets Grunge Black, and these sold for me on April 24th, and I paid $1.19 for them. Next up, I sold this, and it's a Kate Spade dress, women's 6 Peter Pan, yoke collar, wool blend, tweed retro pockets, and that sold for me on April 14th, and I paid $1.40 for it. Next up, I have this LL Bean jacket, men's medium Maine Warden's Parka Gore-Tex no hood vintage blue USA. I purchased this from a regular thrift store and it sold for me on April 2nd. I paid $7.25. Next up, I sold this Talbot's Blazer women's 16 linen coastal breathable career nautical navy blue new, and this sold for me on April 26th. I had $1.75 into it. Next up, I sold this. It was a Diari Fashion Morocco tunic top women's one size art to wear lag and look cowl neck. It sold for me on April 20th and I paid $1.34 for it. Next up, I sold this University of California Berkeley hoodie men's 2XL University logo heavy blue new. I sold this on April 5th and I paid $1.77 from the bins. Next up, I sold this. This one was very much unexpected, but the comps were great, so I knew this was going to sell. But it was just this Olivian suit women's 18 skirt, blazer, rhinestone buttons, church lined purple, and this sold for me on April 26th. And I paid about $2.70. The average, it came out to about $1.35 a piece, so times 2, so $2.70 for that. And then I also sold this. It was a Stussy shirt men's large Dare to Dance tee, Hula Girl short sleeve cotton yellow. I sold this on April 11th. And I paid $1.75 for it. Next up, I sold this Echo Sweater men's extra large vintage logo cotton rhino streetwear grunge Y2K gray, and it sold for me on April 17th. I paid $7.89 for it. I did purchase this at a regular thrift store. Next up, I sold this. This one was definitely a great find, and it was a Happy Bunny shirt, women's extra large baby tee, punk grunge, vintage Y2K, black Jim Benton. And this I sold on April 16th, and I originally had 79 cents into that. So that was a great sale. Next up, I sold this. It was a Bowden skirt, women's 8-tiered poplin midi, floral cotton A-line, heavenly blue flowy. I sold this on April 30th, and I got this from the bins. It was about $1.75 for my cost of goods. Next up, this sold for me. It was a Madewell dress, women's 3X Cassie button front midi, linen striped, pockets blue. It sold for me on April 12th, and I paid $1.45 for it. from the bins. And next I had this sale. It was a steel pony top women's large tunic linen hand dyed lag and look sustainable blue. It sold for me on April 11th and I paid $2.13 for this. I did get this one from the bins. Next up, this one was a little bit disappointing. I thought it was going to go for more because it was a trendier style, but it was just this Levi's jeans men's 34 by 32 silver tab, low loose fit, blue denim Y2K baggy vintage, and I sold this on April 13th and I paid $1.69 for it. This one I really thought was going to sell for more money, but it just didn't, and I can't even tell you why. I don't even think it was the size that was the problem. Maybe it just wasn't the baggiest of them all kind of thing. I really don't know, but silver tab jeans usually are a good pickup, so I don't know why that one didn't sell for what I thought it would sell for anyway. Next up, I had this. It was a pair of Fry's shoes, women's 8.5 wedge, Carina strappy woven leather sling black brown, and this sold for me on April 13th. I paid $3.50 for it. I got these from the bins. These did stick around for way too long, so I'm not sure that I would not have picked them up. I just think that wedges are more of an emerging style that people are getting into now. A lot of low profile shoes are really in right now too, so I think that that's part of the reason is why they didn't sell, is because they were like a higher wedge platform kind of situation, and that's just not as trendy as it was when I originally bought them. Next up, I sold this. It was a PacSun Playboy jacket, men's medium, bunny logo, nylon black streetwear collab, and it sold for me on April 14th. I paid $1.85 for that. Then I sold this Tallbots 12 button-up shirt, striped, wrinkle-resistant, coral salmon women's vintage, and it sold on April 14th. I paid $1.85 for it. I originally didn't purchase this because I wanted to sell it. I really bought it for myself. I thought that the contrasting collar and the sleeves was a really nice touch, but ultimately I decided that I was going to sell that one instead of keeping it. It just wasn't really my style anymore. So I'm happy that somebody did end up finding it, and it was a nice piece. But I did not pick this up for resale. Next up, I sold this. It was Habitat's Clothes to Live In jacket, women's medium lag and look, full zip, mock neck. This sold for me on April 7th, and I paid $1.85 for that. I don't think that it was a bad pickup, but I do think it was like a little bit smaller, which did make it a little bit more challenging to sell, but still not a horrible selling price, just not really what my target is. Next up, I sold this Gap skirt, women's medium, straight, slinky, charcoal gray slit, vintage 90s minimal. This sold for me on April 12th, and I paid $1.43. Then I sold this 7 for All Mankind jeans, women's 26 bootcut dark wash lyocell cotton blend blue. This sold for me on April 24th, and I paid $1.75 for those. Not a terrible pickup. Bootcut is trendy right now, but I do think that like because I hung on to them for so long and the trend cycle just happened to go back into bootcut, I got lucky. But this is not something that I wouldn't necessarily buy now. It just wasn't trendy when I purchased it, but this was an older item that I bought way early on when I was really getting into reselling. So not a bad pickup, it's just wrong timing. Then I sold this lens and dress women's 14 seersucker striped classic summer preppy retro. It sold for me on April 18th and I had $1.52 for it. I don't think that that was a bad sale either. I didn't give it a lot of time to sell before I ended up like marking it down. I really wanted to make sure that it did sell in this season. And seersucker is a great fabric. I do think that you have to pair it with a brand that's notable if it's not a vintage piece in a great condition. But it's a great fabric and it doesn't wrinkle easily, so that's why people like it so much. I don't know that I would have picked this up though, just because it's not the price point that I typically like to shoot for. But still, if I had ended up keeping it and it was something I was going to wear, that's a great pickup. And to be honest, I really think that I did pick this up because I was going to take it to my buy sell trade. So originally I wasn't going to sell it myself. I just kind of wanted to see how it was going to perform. Especially because it's starting to get into like the warmer season right now, and it was definitely giving like nautical preppy retro vibes. So it wasn't a bad pickup. I'll say that. If you do see this out and you want to take it to a buy sell trade store, they'll probably take it. It is a very classic style, and depending on what your buy sell trade likes, I know mine likes a lot of preppy stuff. I definitely think this is a pickup. Then I sold this. It was a Coldwater Creek large skirt linen striped blue straight women's stretch waist, and I sold this on April 19th and I paid $2.57 for it. It did come from the bins. I originally picked this up for myself thinking that maybe I would wear it, but I just didn't like it once I got home and I tried it on. It really just wasn't for me, and the color isn't really something that I like usually gravitate towards. Not that it was a bad pickup, but it originally was for me. So when I was able to go ahead and turn around and sell this, I was able to get my money back, and so for that I'm very happy with that sale. And then besides that, I did have a couple of items that I did place on auction. I usually do kind of like auctions to clearance the things out that I buy that I no longer want to keep, that I'm just looking to recoup my costs for, or maybe that I purchased from buy sell trade store and they didn't take it. So for me, I did have a couple of items that I did auction off that went for like a way lower amount, and I will show that to you guys so that you can see what I'm talking about. Alright, so that's everything that I have, and I want to say thank you for hanging out with me and seeing everything that sold for me for the month of April. I am looking super forward to seeing you guys next week, and I hope you had a great bunch of sales. For me, I did have a great Mother's Day, and I know that this is going to be out after Mother's Day, but I just want to say happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. And I honestly had like a great time on my Mother's Day. I went to go see The Devil Wears Prada 2 with my mom, which was awesome. And I would 100% recommend that if you were a fan of the first movie, you should definitely go see the second one. I was a little bit apprehensive, but it was so good, and just you could tell that they put a lot of thought into it and they really made this movie for the fans. So if that's something that you're debating whether or not you should go and you don't know if you should or not, I'm here to tell you should definitely go if you are a fashion girly like myself. And I guess I will see you guys next time, and I hope you have great sales. Bye.